Hello, I'm David D. Cosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. My co-host, Rusty Fender, is taking some time off, so we will see him again in one of our upcoming programs, I'm sure. Today, a guest who returns with us usually every year at about this time, Stan Zigman from the University of Scranton. And Stan, I guess, you know, the theme each and every year at this time is a theme that really tries to portray the fact that the university is not just for college students. It's mainly there for college students, but the fact is you share with the community as well.
Correct. We have a lot of events that we appreciate the chance to come on to talk to you about. A lot of them, although not all of them, a lot of them are free and open to the public. A lot of them have an educational component to it. So it's nice to get the word out, to the public about these things that are going on, and hopefully attract them onto campus.
Absolutely. Is it important to the administration to share with the public?
Yeah. Well, part of our our purpose is to educate students. So part of it is, of course, we're trying to attract local students to the university. But as part of that, with community involvement is very important to us. Community service is very important to us. So our student, for instance, every club has a requirement to do a community service project.
Every club on campus?
Every club on campus. Yep, if they're University of Scranton campus. So they do that throughout the year. They'll be that's why you'll see them occupational therapy students in a lock-in at the mall with Girl Scouts.
Yes.
Because they're doing the community service.
And I think I remember the day of sharing where some of the students went out, and I remember in one project they were doing some cleanup work up in Naog Park.
They do that, yeah.
There was another instance where I believe during the same day another group of students from the university made themselves available to a facility for handicapped individuals, and again we're cleaning the grounds and things that you don't think of all the time, but things that have to be done by somebody and that improve the environment for people, improve life for those people in that home. For instance, people who use Naog Park might not realize that it's a little cleaner. Yes.
For a little while. For,
exactly,
for a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
In fact, they'll be doing their cleanup in October. They'll be doing the fall cleanup. So they'll do it routinely, but also in addition to a larger cleanup like that's organized, more from the student government and the university. There's also just individual clubs who will do something. We had Urban Beats, which is a hip hop dance team. They actually that's what they do. But they were working with United Neighborhood Centers every Friday evening, teaching younger students, younger children, how to hip hop dance.
Oh, that's great.
So they're out in the community. We had another group, Exercise Science Honor Society. Honor Societies is a club and organization. So they were doing training with children who were going to compete in Special Olympics. So a lot of times it'll be related to their field. For instance, we have a criminal justice club that works with the Scranton Police Department to clean up graffiti. So if they find graffiti spottings, they will call the criminal justice club, and the police, the educational components, the police will talk to the students about what the signs mean, how to interpret the signs.
Yes, because much of the graffiti is actually messages, if
correct,
you will.
Correct. So they're teaching the students how to read these messages, and the community services, the students are actually repainting, to keep everything clean, because of broken windows. We have an expert actually who does a lot of research in community policing, and the broken windows theories. If it looks bad, people just don't take care of their environment. So that's why keeping it clean, getting rid of graffiti as soon as you spot it, is part of what helps with the community. But so there's so many of them. It's just constant.
And I guess actually, it winds up being an extension of their education in terms of they're getting out of the book and into the reality of the community.
In fact, one of the things I want to talk about actually is October is Scranton Reads. So Scranton Reads, the Scranton Public Library, along with a host of community organizations, including Penn State, Marywood, and several others, pick a book. This year they picked The Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning book for the whole community to read.
Right.
Well, the University of Scranton is a premier sponsor this year. We had one of our professors applied for a grant. The university does strategic initiative funding. This is university-funded projects that help our strategic plan, which is integrated, engaged, and global.
Okay.
So this is like integrating students into the community and engaging them in the process. So what she does is she has students in her course. There's actually 2 courses. They're reading the book, The Gilead, and now they're going to go out to the community and lead discussions.
Yeah, as I recall that project, once folks have read the book, they get together and they discuss it, and because everybody has a different take.
Exactly,
on
and there's
something
so
that
many
they've
different
read.
themes there. Yeah,
Yes.
there's end of life components. There's father-son relationships. There's history involved. So people will take different things away from it, and the group discussions are allow people to talk about what they found in the book, and they're going to be held every Monday at the Albright Memorial Library at 6 o'clock. Will be facilitated by University of Scranton students as part of their course. This is actually an academic course. They're freshmen, so
Okay.
they're going to go out and talk about it. And there's also going to be, there'll be in community, I believe the website is, if I could cheat, scrantonreads.org. They have a list of all the events, because they're in, like pretty much every public library will have a community event.
Yeah,
but that's how like our academics got involved with community projects, and they're bringing students out in the community to to part, and there's academic component as well.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting in terms of having perhaps the college take on reading this book compared with adults who are not going to school, and see how close they are, or maybe how far
How different
apart
they are. And
Yeah.
most likely they're going to be maybe a little different, but that's all part of the learning experience. It's also
Sure.
for these students, they're freshmen, to go in the community and to actually try and facilitate a discussion. Again, that's a higher level of learning. You have to know the material a lot better to teach it than it is just to react to it.
Yes,
so
sure.
it's all part of their education. And community service is part of the education that we're trying to provide to the students.
And
So
that begins in October.
that
right?
begins in October. It runs through the whole month, every Monday at 6 o'clock in the Scranton Public, the Albright Memorial Library on Vine Street. But there's also going to be, in addition to that, I know they're going to be in North Pocono, and there's a whole, pretty much every library in Lackawanna County is running also a Scranton Reads book.
Yeah, they make an effort to bring in many extra copies of the book.
Yeah, there's also copies
in
available.
question.
Yeah, and there's also going to be a lecture. We partnered with the medical school, Geisinger Commonwealth School of Medicine. It's going to be done by a Scranton alum. It's October 15th at 1:30. It's in Brennan Hall at the university, and it's exit strategies. It's talking about end of life.
Oh, yes.
Different, end of life issues. It's by Chris Jones, who's a medical doctor. He's now at the University of Pennsylvania. He's in part of their medical school, and his expertise is end of life care. And he's coming in to talk about end of life issues. It's open to the public. It's free, but we have a lot of, again, different partners in healthcare who would be dealing with this. And one of the themes of Gilead is end of life. So
yes,
that's why
yes.
it's all part of Scranton Reads.
Sure. Now, the date on that one again?
It's October 15th
on that lecture?
at 1:30 p.m. and it's on the University of Scranton's Brennan Hall.
Brennan Hall.
It's called Exit Strategies.
Okay, now I know you have a sort of a chronological list of some of the things
I have
that are
them all
happening,
over.
But I'm going to jump out of it for just 1 second here, because
Sure.
I see this brochure in front of me, and I'm always impressed with this photograph. I wonder if you'd tell us about this.
Okay, these are our performance music concerts. They go throughout the year. All the performance music concerts are free and open to the public. There's only one, the Empty Stocking Benefit Fund, which is December 10th this year. That we requested a donation be made of a
Okay.
children's item of clothing or a child's toy.
Why am
but-
I seeing this elaborate organ behind it?
Because we have a beautiful restored organ, a pipe organ, that's part of the Houlihan McLean Centers where the concerts are performed. And on October 22nd at 3 p.m. we actually have Daniel Ficari, who's an organist, who'll be playing on that instrument. Unfortunately, it's not used for every concert.
I understand, but what impresses me is the fact that sometimes colleges, and I don't mean just the university, take it on the chin a little bit because they take over properties, which then takes those properties off of the tax roll because the school is an educational institution. And sometimes the colleges take it on the chin for that. But I submit to you that there are facilities, and this may very well be one, this former church, very elaborate church in downtown Scranton, that may have actually fallen to the wrecking ball were it not for the university getting involved with it. So it wasn't just taking it over, but then in the case of the organ, refurbishing, and I'm sure a lot of refurbishing in the building
In fact,
itself.
there's just a new roof put on. So there's a lot done to that, and it's also used, again, for students. We have multiple student orchestras, strings, jazz, chorus. So these are all students. We don't have a music major. These are just students who are at the University of Scranton. They could be biology. They could be the future doctors.
Yes, sure.
But they love music. They love to perform, so we give them a chance to perform. So a lot of times with these concerts, when the artists come in, they'll also work with our students.
Oh,
so
yes.
There's always usually an educational component. Sometimes there'll be master classes for area high school students who want to come, who are interested, or local, college students, or like maybe at that level. And so there'll be usually that component to it, as well as a free concert for the general public. So the public benefits as well. And this year, in addition to the organist that's coming October 22nd, we have Kenny Rampton on October 28th. We have the Diva Jazz Orchestra. They're celebrating their 25th year on a world tour, and they're going to be here on November 4th at 7:30 p.m. And on December 2nd is our 50th Noel night. So it's a special year for us, the 50th anniversary of a Noel night program. That one, you come early because that fills up. A lot of them will get large crowds, but the Houlihan is a very, very big facility.
Yes, yes. And it's so great to see it being used throughout the year, I guess partially for classes, but then as you say, the concerts as well.
Electric City, the face of music. That's actually Cheryl Boga, who's our director of performance music.
Ah, okay.
So we have a nice feature with the Electric City.
So you're likely to see her in the...
She'll be there in every concert.
Very, very, very good.
She's always there with her students.
So this building is virtually used almost every day then?
It is used for rehearsals. So
Yeah, well, that's
so
what I
the
mean.
student orchestra is in there. So they're in there. It's sometimes used for lectures, not as often, because again, there's such an active performance music schedule.
Well, I think the concert series is probably one of the things that would be most attractive to the general population.
Probably.
They don't always know what's going on there, which is why we bring you on. But there are also, of course, other ways to find out. Now, you've already talked about several things that are happening right here in the fall in October, and then you go into November as well.
Yeah.
What's next on the list?
Well, we have a number of lectures that I want to talk about. This is, again, you think of a university, you might think of, talks or different speakers we bring in. One, there's going to be a panel discussion October 24th at 7 p.m. It's called Trust, Credibility, and the News.
Oh, my goodness.
So that should be a good one.
Wow, talk about current
There's
affairs,
a lot of the lectures that come in are touching on topics that would be in the news or would be on people's minds at the time.
The question of fake news, et cetera.
Yes, that's going to be discussed. And the panel, we're actually with the Scranton Times-Tribune and the Pennsylvania News Media Association. So they're holding a panel discussion. They're going to have different professional reporters there. We're also going to have a student from the Aquinas participate and a professor.
The Aquinas is the college newspaper.
The college newspaper.
Right.
So you'll get a very young opinion of the news, but you also get people, working in the profession, and their opinion of news bias. We also have a professor participating, who may be a little more critical of the media. So it should be a very interesting discussion.
Not sure if I could comment on that.
You should go to it. You really, because it's October 24th. It's 7 p.m. It's in the Kane Forum. It's open to the public. It's free. Again, but it's a topic that I think people have opinions on.
Well, being involved in the news for years, yes. I really get upset with the fact that we had journalists, certainly back in my day, if I may, that could tell a story, and without having to turn to a phone to read the material, to the audience, and it's something that really bothers me. So,
Oh no, I'm cheating a lot.
well, that's all right. But you're live television doing a news report. You ought to know your story. And then, of course, you go back to instances, and I guess most famous in our area was the George Banks mass murders, where we had a local radio station that was convinced by the district attorney that broadcasting a false news report might get this mass killer to surrender. A, it didn't work, and B, I as a journalist then questioned the accuracy of anything else I hear from that station, which is now intentionally broadcast something erroneous. So that's the kind of thing.
And, well, it's interesting too, because if you do surveys of the general public, a lot of the general public sees a bias in the media.
Yes, they do.
And the media, when you speak to media members of the media, because I work with, that's part of my job.
Sure.
They, of course, keep to their objectivity. So it's interesting that there seems to be this disconnect somewhere.
Yes, and I think there can be a difference between the element of reporters and then the element of management ultimately
It'll
deciding.
Be interesting. It's a good panel discussion.
It is. And that is open to the public,
That's
free of charge.
October 24th, 7 p.m., Kane Forum at the University of Scranton. Again, it's with the Scranton Times-Tribune, Pennsylvania News Media Association, and there's going to be professors as well. So there's going to be
Where is that building?
It's in Leahy Hall,
Okay.
which is on Jefferson Hall. It's a beautiful new building for physical therapy, occupational therapy, exercise science.
Great.
So it's a nice venue too. Also coming up, some other lectures. The Theologies of Bruce Springsteen. There's going to be a Weinberg. These are great topics.
Yeah, they really are.
And he's coming back now.
Yeah, that's right.
It was from the 80s. I remember him. But November 9th at 7:30 p.m., it's our Weinberg Judaic Studies Institute lecture. October 14th, we have Ready to Run, which is a program that we run. That's not free, but it's a program that we run to encourage women to enter politics. It's run through the university, and that's October 14th.
And that actually would allow young women to learn about some of the red tape or the paperwork involved, because declaring yourself as a candidate for something doesn't make you a candidate.
Right. It's those who might be even thinking about running to find out what's involved in it. Also, you can just becoming now, there's a trend that people are becoming more active. They're trying to find out, how do I get involved in this? Great, it's a day-long training, but it's a great thing to go to.
Now that series has been going on for a while.
Yeah, we've been doing it for years. We partner with Rutgers, so we've been doing it in Northeast Pennsylvania. There's, I think, 11 counties that we handle as part of a national training for women, to encourage more women to run into politics.
Now, I'm curious, and I don't know that you would necessarily know this, but I'll ask it. Have you found, or have the presenters found, that after going through this, that we have in fact seen some of these people going and running for office?
Some of them do. Some of them that will go through it, because again, they may be more serious, potential candidates. Some of them will go to the training and subsequently run. They may get elected, they may not. But there's also things that you can find out about how do you get a job in administration. So it may not necessarily be running. You may be becoming involved in the
part
government.
Of yes,
yeah,
yes.
part of the government. So again, these are information sessions. It's training that goes on all day, and it's October 14th. Unfortunately, it's not free, but they can register online. And they can call the University of Scranton. That would be 570-941-7520.
All right. I'd like to suggest that might be something that should become coeducational as well, because I think there are probably a lot of men as well. Maybe we assume that they know what they're going to have to go through when they run for office. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Probably everybody would, have their eyes open.
I think anyone.
The training is focused on getting more women because of the low percentage of women that
Sure,
participate.
and very worthwhile. It just occurs to me that there are probably a lot of people that think about running for office, and it's just a thought in their mind without any realization
of what's
involved. Gathering petitions, names on petitions,
and dates, filing by certain dates,
filing
the
dates. Sure, so many little things. I'm sure campaign financing has to be part of that as well.
Yeah, and also media, working with media, how to get word out. So it's a day-long training, but It's something, again, that's available on October 14th to the general public, especially women who are considering running. October 14th. Also, we have a Global Taste of Scranton focused on Syria.
Global Taste of
Global Taste. These are people who would be new to Scranton, immigrants or refugees, and they present their culture. So this is going to be for Syria.
Yes.
So they're going to present Syrian food. They'll be doing dance and giving information about their life in Syria, and that's October 14th at 6:30. This is a community project. The University is part of it. It's called Global Taste, and that's at the Scranton Cultural Center.
And is that that is
not free?
But
It's open to the public, but it's not free.
Right.
Yes, that's
well,
$35.
you've got supplies and things.
Correct. You're getting food. A free thing that's open to the general public, although it might be more professional. We're doing a Google News laboratory training.
What is that?
Google News, like when you search for Google News,
right.
This will help you show like how does this work? How can you help with the system? How can you use all this? So it's more of a professional background, but again, something that we're offering that's free and that's open to the public as well. But I think we probably have a more professional tin, and that's actually the 21st.
21st of October.
Of October at 11:30 a.m.
And where is that going to be held?
Good question. It's at the university. That's actually in Loyola Science Center.
Okay.
And then we have a economics lecture coming up November 17th. It's going to have to do with China and the political impact of China becoming an economic power. And the other thing I should mention, we have 2 open houses. These are for students who are interested in coming to the university, October 22nd and November 5th. So those they're free, but you'd want to register in advance, and that would be to come to see what the campus is like, meet with professors, faculty, find out all different majors, so you really see the school.
And really get a walkthrough.
You can take a tour, walkthroughs. There's different booths, information, athletic teams, clubs, organizations.
Okay, the dates on that again?
October 22nd and November 5th. And those will be our open houses at the university. And the best way to do there is either call 888-SCRANTON. You'll get our admissions, or email admissions@scranton.edu.
Okay.
Okay, and those would be for tours of Scranton.
All right.
I can keep going. I don't know how much time we have.
Just a little bit. Go ahead. Give me a little quick rundown on some of the others coming up pretty
some
quick.
of the other things that we have going on have to do with the Schemmel Forum. These are programs that's run through the Schemmel Forum on campus, which is more for the community rather than traditional students. There's a luncheon series that deals with, a lot of topics that are in the news. There are films, there's different lectures that are offered. There's even courses that are offered through this program. It's called the Schemmel Forum.
And I would remind the audience that many of those are also available right here on Electric City Television.
You see
after
a lot of
they
the
have
luncheons, for instance, that you run a lot of the luncheons that they cover different topics.
Yeah, so you can catch up on them again if you're not able to get to them. It's obviously, you're better off getting there where you can actually do a little question and answer as well. But just knowing that check out here on Electric City Television, you'll find some of those lectures very, very impressive.
And there's, like I said, courses. There's going to be a film October 26th at 6 p.m. This is one of the projects. Sometimes Schemmel will do a collaboration with other groups, and that's going to be on Jane Jacobs. It's a documentary called Citizen Jane, and she's a Scranton native who became an activist and tried to save Greenwich Village in New York. So
goodness.
she was an activist with the cities and trying to keep, preserve different neighborhoods.
Yes.
So it's going to be a documentary on her life, and that's October 26th at 6 p.m., and that's a Schemmel Forum. A community collaboration with our Office of Community Relations, and that's free. And that's going to be, again, that's at 6 p.m. on October 26th.
Okay. You got about a minute left. Anything else that you want to make sure you mention?
No, I think that's good. I think we're good.
Well, in that case, I'll go back and review the fact that while we're trying to present a little potpourri of all of the offerings at the University of Scranton here today, there are so many venues and so many topics that you really want to make another connection with the university. What's the best way, someone in the area said, gee, I saw that show on ECTV. I'm not sure when this was scheduled, when that was scheduled. I'm interested in this, interested in that. What's the best way to kind of go to the university to find out where everything is happening?
The easiest way would be to look at the university's website. Right on the first page of the website, the landing page, www.scranton.edu. At the bottom of the page, there's an event listing.
An event listing.
It goes by calendar date, so you'd
Okay.
have to kind of look at the different days, but you can see what's going on. A lot of the events are open to the public or free, and usually will say when you connect to the event,
Right.
I'll give you more information. The university's news office, we're going to be having a new news hub for all of our information. We do calendar postings every month, so we send it out with a list of different events, and most
Yes.
of those are free, or if they're not, it'll say what the charge is for.
I just think it's great that you make this effort to integrate with the community and allow them to come in on so many things, many of which are free. So Stan Zingman, I thank you so much for joining us on the program again, and
Thanks for having me.
bring you back every so often, because I know that list keeps growing and changing as the calendar does as well. Mark McGlory, thank you so much for all your technical work on that end of the camera. And Rusty Fender, wherever you are, I hope all is going well with you. I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV Live. Until I see you again next week, here's hoping all your news is good.